The Toolstrip control is a means of providing the users of your application a way to employ the most common functions within your app through a visual shortcut. Let's add a Toolstrip to our application by dragging and dropping it from the toolbox onto the designer surface. Notice that we get an instance of our Toolstrip here in the designer tray, and we get a visual representation on the form itself. By default, it docks to the top. However, we can dock it to any side of our form that we wish. And there's a couple of different ways to add buttons or other controls onto our Toolstrip. The most obvious way is to just click the little Add Toolstrip button, which gives us, by default, a button. However, there's a lot of different controls that we can add. Labels, split buttons, which are a combination of menus and menu items and the button. A drop-down button, separator, so that we can kind of group our various controls together. Combo boxes, text boxes, progress bars. And since most of these operate exactly the same as their counterparts that would live outside of the Toolstrip control, we're not going to go into any of these in much depth except for the button itself. When we added a new button to our toolbar, notice that it gave us a little default graphic. We can change this through the properties for that Toolstrip button by going to the image property. By selecting the little ellipsis next to the image property, we can either import from our local hard drive, or we can select a resource from the resource file. In this case, I have a little gear icon that I want to use, and I'll click OK, and notice that it's now changed the icon for my button. I can also change the text, so I'll put here new button, and it doesn't show up. What we can do is change the display style property to either just text or just image or image and text. And if we don't like how the image and the text are arranged, we can go down to the very bottom of the properties window and change the text image relation property so that the image is above the text is above the image, the text is before the image, or the default, the image is before the text. We can also dock our Toolstrip to, say, for example, the left-hand side, and when we do, what we might want to do is change the alignment of the text to vertical 270 to kind of tuck it away and not take up so much screen real estate. Now that's one way that we can add buttons to our Toolstrip. Let me just start over from scratch here. The other way that you can do it is to insert the most common Toolstrip items that you see in most Windows applications by going to the little Quick Tasks arrow in the upper right-hand corner of the control and select Insert Standard Items. So this gives us the common New, Open, Save, Print, Cut, Copy, Paste, and Help. Each Toolstrip button can have various states associated with it. It can be in a check state or an unchecked state. Now, by default, we don't have check states enabled. But what we'll do for the Help button is kind of change it a little bit. We're going to select it and go to the Check on Click property and change that to True. Now let's run our application just to demonstrate what it means to be unchecked. And I clicked it once, and now it is checked. You can see that it's highlighted, and we'll turn it off and turn it on. So this would be useful in those instances where some different operation needs to be performed on the rest of your application based on whether or not an option is on or off. And we can check on the current state of a given button programmatically by writing a little bit of code. So let's use this determine if checked button that I've already created here, and I'll uncomment out some code that I wrote. And here what we'll simply do is get a reference to our Help Toolstrip button and whether or not it's checked, and we'll just look at the checked property and convert that to a string, and then display that in a message box. So let's go and run the application again. And we'll fix the little problem we have here and now run the application. And we'll check it and then click determinative checked, true. Let's turn it off and click determinative checked, false. Great. Next, let's add another button onto our form here. And we're going to call this button add Toolstrip button. And so dynamically we'll add another button to our Toolstrip. So let's write some code here. And we'll do this in just one line of code. So we'll go toolstrip1.items.add, and there's several different overloaded versions of the add method on our items collection of our toolstrip. We'll use this one where we simply define new button and then we'll define the image. And so we'll go to properties.resources.gear48. And by clicking our button, we should be dynamically adding another button to our Toolstrip. Very cool. So to sum up, the Toolstrip provides a very rich design time environment to design your toolbars and a rich object model that you can work with at runtime to modify the various properties of the Toolstrip control, the items that it contains, and even add new items at runtime as we just demonstrated.